it's just something that's in me, and I have a need to do it. It's always been there ever since I, was just a small boy. Like I said, I've always had that desire. I've been carving ever since I was about 11 years old. And even before that, I wanted to, I thought about it a lot, So about all my life, really, just been either carving or whittling, But I'm pretty much anymore, we're doing it full time, At one time, I was doing all the carving, all the painting. And, it grew, to where we was doing it on the kitchen table, okay? It got to growing so much I couldn't keep up, and I told her, I said, you need to do the painting. She says, nope, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't. And I said, well, you need to try, So she started doing the painting, and which actually she does a lot better than I ever could do at it, and it just kind of took off from there. It's kind of a collaboration between me and her. I do a piece, and then she paints it. I just let her do, Of course, she won't hardly let me give no input, I'll say, I think it ought to be this way. Just like the turtle in there, I said, I think it ought to have been purple with yellow.
I said from the start, this is the way I do it. You go do your part, I'll do my part. So we get along real good like that. Lonnie has all kinds of ideals. He could live to be 200 years old and he never make all of his ideals. He just amazes you to sit and hear him talk sometimes about what all he's got in his head and what he would like to do.
I had a herd of cattle, Black Angus cattle years ago, and we had a black cow that sit, and she'd just sit there, and the rest of them be laying around or standing, but she'd be sitting there, cheering her could, sitting up. And that's kind of the inspiration for the sitting cow. We do a lot of the chickens, cows, and dogs, cats. And now that we've got into the gourds, we do, I do some mythical things like the dragons, And well, of course, the roosters is probably is my best-selling thing that I do. And actually, I guess it's my favorite piece, some of them, because I do so many different styles, so many different types.
Okay, Lonnie designs each piece, and he carves it, puts it together, whatever. And he brings it to me. Then I use a wood filler, and I would put the wood filler to smooth it out and fill the cracks and blemishes it has in it. Then it goes back to Lonnie. He sands it. Then he brings it back to me, and I put a coat of wood glue on it. This completely seals it and gives a good hard finish. Then it has to be sanded after that. Then he brings it back to me, and I do put a base coat. Base coat it with whatever color, black, white, or whatever. And then I have to put a second base coat. And then that's when I start doing the designs, whatever, polka dots or whatever design I'm putting on, whatever I'm doing. And their eyes, beaks, and feet. And they just gradually come alive as I paint them. You can just see them, or I can just see them come alive as I start painting. I do, to me, what resembles the best I can do to my ability. And the colors, I don't know, just bright, something that makes them bright and cheery and makes them come alive. I have to think a while. Sometimes I just have to let them sit in there and look at them for a few days to think, well, what color and what will go and what will look right. And so I just sit and look at them for a few days before I really get started on them. And then I maybe will do a little and then wait and do a little more later. So it's a challenge to do new pieces, and for the future, I just hope as long as the good Lord gives me the ability and the health, I can do it. When I get in there and get to painting and just get to myself kindly, I don't think I'd ever get tired of it. It's just, I don't know, you're in another world.
I get excited, when somebody buys something of mine. I get excited because they think it's worth buying, and they see something in it that makes it something to them. And we get a lot of nice letters from people, saying how they like our work. And I get a lot of satisfaction from that. And that kind of feeds this process, that we're in, that, you know, that makes me want to go back and maybe do more, do something else, do different things, you know, different kind of animals or whatever, you know. Each piece is original work of mine and Twyla's. I might use machinery or tools to make them with, which that's just an extension of my hands, you know. It's in my hands what I do. I might do 100 roosters. They'll be just as individual as people are. We're all people, you know, human beings, but we're different. Every one of us look different. We're different, you know. Satisfaction for me is in the doing, the feel of the work, the doing of the work. You know, I get enjoyment from that. There's not really anything that I'd change, I don't think, you know. I think it's a blessing to be able to do what you love to do, you know. And it seems like it's turned out that way for me.
It's just something I've enjoyed, and it just brings peace and comfort to me. I just really enjoy when I get involved in it and get to doing it. I really get a satisfaction out of doing it. And when people buy it then and make comments, that just picks me up more. Just kind of get a high out of it.